Wednesday Afternoon by David Mathews. Some people think that numbers are dry little creatures, lacking in romance, contributing no excitement to our lives and loves. But they have no idea. For many years I have lived with my dear husband in one of France's least pretentious départements. The rolling hills, fields and woods, somnolent villages, low taxes and modest wines satisfy the families who've always lived here and appeal to wanderers who do not seek a big production for every holiday. The dramas of the landscape appear where the main river and its tributaries surge through steep valleys and gorges. Occasional excitement emerges from the rumbling jealousy between the main city and its rival to the south. The former boasts a fortress-like cathedral and the prefecture, and the latter is deeply conscious of being home to a mere sous-prefecture, but asserts itself in other ways. Ha! We are a city, not a museum. We work, they play, and badly. When was the last time they beat us at rugby? Otherwise, it's quiet country. My husband and I own the Chambre Haute at Chateau Magret, in a shallow farming valley, where the fields in summer disport themselves in sunflower, maize, and softly waving wheat. Every afternoon, a certain Claude Fleuret kisses his little wife ever so tenderly and pops off in his little car. And 10 minutes later, he is here at my chateau. At the same time, my old friend Delphine Chasquet says bye-bye to her little husband. He goes off to play with his tractors, and she comes here too. Delphine and I went to school together, and our long familiarity allows an arrangement to be made whereby Madame Chasquet and Monsieur Fleuret have rented a second-floor bedroom on Wednesday afternoons for 15 years. Occasionally they play Scrabble. And for 2 Wednesdays in May they watch the tennis from Roland Garros. Most times, however, they follow a routine, working their way time and again in strict sequence through a manual of 98 lovemaking positions. They end their afternoon together by rating their experience from 0 to 5. Monsieur Fleuret, trained in the science of plants and soil, keeps meticulous records. He notes, as in any well-ordered study, the different conditions pertaining: time of year, weather, his and Madame Chasquet's mood, and what the scientists among us call the experimental treatment. And that is, characteristics of the position, including the requirement in each one for stretch, weight-bearing, use of furniture, and joint articulation. Now, this last parameter is of particular interest to Claude, beset as he is by a dodgy hip that will at some stage need replacement. He has in mind to publish his findings under the working title of Effects of Degenerative Joint Disease, DJD, on Twist, Turn and Thrust, T3, in Coitus. I know this because once Claude has set off for home, Delphine joins me for a glass of Muscat and a little chat before she too returns to her family. Now, this systematic evaluation of physicians has, happily, had a benign effect on the longevity of Claude's and Delphine's liaison. From time to time, and increasingly with age, the body falters. One Wednesday, accordingly, the encounter might lack a certain something, but there is no blame. Do not think, my dear, that this number 56 is not all it is cracked up to be. Oh, I don't know why, but the slightest problem with my hamstring and... Curiously, one thing that Claude has never done in his assiduous accumulation of evidence is to elicit the help of their hostess. Though not conventionally fitting the term observer, I am well placed to provide additional, potentially useful data. For example, there is little peer-reviewed research published on the correlation between satisfaction in sexual encounter and degree of disarray in the bedroom. I could easily provide a report on the state of the room each week, but I'm reluctant to mention it to Claude and Delphine, lest it be interpreted as a complaint. A chateau is a big responsibility, and I would not want to lose a weekly €30. Another factor contributing to what you might call the success of the fair is discretion. I have disclosed the Wednesday exploits only to my closest friends, and a few dozen of my charme d'oeuvre. When Claude and Delphine meet in other settings, and they do, for their families' paths have crossed for years, they observe precisely the conventions of old friends, not lovers. Kisses in greeting and on parting, no excessive familiarity, and no betrayal of undue knowledge of one another's tastes. Unbeknown to them, of course, their meticulous behaviour is a dead giveaway. Discretion, therefore, extends to neighbours and acquaintances who have known them for years, without ever referring to why the consultant agronomist and the accomplished cook are never available socially on Wednesday afternoons. Then 6 months ago, something happened. Claude and Delphine made their usual rendezvous. The day was set for position 98. In one sense, just another number, but the childish appeal of going round the clock is never lost. Claude had bought champagne in celebration. You are always a gentleman, Claude. Santé. To number 8 and to number 1 again next week. The champagne did no harm to the efficacy of 98 and may even have enhanced it. Delphine pronounced the experience a mellow 4-star. And for Claude, his 3-star rating was a piece with a decent lunch and a favourable contract that he'd negotiated that morning. Delphine, may I ask you something? Of course, mon petit chou. Shall we still do this, do you think? When we are old, when we are 70 or 75? Oh, why not? There might be 1 or 2 numbers we might go easy on, but otherwise, yes. Why not? Why do you ask? Is there something bothering you? It's been just over 15 years. Weren't we only 40 or so when we ran into each other in that funny little bookshop? I don't know which one of us was more surprised to see the other. You crept up behind me. I remember your exact words. If you buy that book, Claude Fleuret, I won't first go with you in every position. It was not the most elegant passage, but it was certainly direct, not to say brazen. And if the shop had been a little less busy, I'd have started there and there. So you said at the time, imagine it, mon Dieu. Anyway, I was just thinking I couldn't envisage life without this, without our afternoons together. It is like a pulse, a heartbeat, the rhythm of my life, but some things, I don't know. Go on, you can tell me. It's Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, I am terribly conscious of coming here next day, and I want to be on good form. And recently has made me a bit, how shall I say, shy of Clémence. But she goes to her choir on Tuesdays, and they've changed the day, and comes back glowing and so full of life, while I'm thinking only of the next day, of you. We go to bed, and all she says is, me today, come on, me today. It's tricky. A pigeon cooed, and a fly buzzed and banged against the window. Then nothing else. Nothing. For a full minute. Claude, my dear? Did I get that right, what you just say? Me today? Do you mean to tell me that your wife knows, Clémence knows about us? I am sorry, my angel, but yes, she has known for 11 years. She guessed. But she says it is good for me to keep my skills up. She says other things as well, but they're too embarrassing. Maybe promise not to tell you. Oh, my dearest Claude. And I thought this was a perfect secret, a little deception. It made us, oh, so special. You are my secret agent, my spy, my sleeper, my undercover. Oh, dear, what a shame. A tractor passed, its empty trailer clattering over potholes. Delphine sighed. Well then, my dearest Claude, sadly, I too have to tell you something. Philippe knows. Philippe! Oh my God, ow! Oh, we were having a row. 7 years, 8 years ago. I was furious with him, livid. And I told him just to get back at him. And do you know what? He laughed. He just laughed. He laughed so much I thought he was going to die. He said he didn't think you had it in you. Well done, Claude, he said, and he made me swear not to tell you that he knew. I am sorry, I wasn't going, but doesn't he care? It was a relief, I think. Philippe used to go away a lot on business trips to Thailand. I found contraceptives in his suitcase. He said he was lonely when he was away, and it didn't mean anything. The contraceptives were to protect me, apparently. I am a man, he said. A man has needs. But for all his excuses, I had him by the balls. And then when I let sleep about us, he felt liberated. I don't know what he's done about it, and I don't care. He's a dear, sweet man, and I wouldn't change him for the world. Except on Wednesday afternoons, you understand? Doesn't he say anything when he gets home in the evening? I mean, what do you talk about? Talk! Last Wednesday I was preparing the foie gras, and he came up behind me and patted my bottom and said, "You are nicely warmed up, aren't you? Everywhere's closed on Wednesday afternoons except you." And then, before I know it, he is at me like Eric's crazy Charlie Bull. So, talking didn't come into it much. But you have the same thing, don't you? Not on Wednesdays. It's Tuesdays. Me today. On Wednesdays, she talks about inconsequential things and drinks too much wine. In the weeks that followed, the light went out of Delphine's and Claude's eyes. Everyone noticed and was saddened. Then, 6 or 7 weeks ago, Claude was buying a ticket for the lottery, which put him in mind of random numbers. His scientist's heart began to beat faster, and he phoned me in great excitement. Hortense, how would it be if Delphine and I came on some other days as well? Once a week, the usual rates. Which days? Well, that's the thing. It would be random. Nothing regular. As long as I get a few days' notice. It was settled. And now, on the last Wednesday of every month, Claude and Delphine draw numbers from a hat and leave me with a schedule for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Week 1, Thursday afternoon. Week 2, Tuesday morning, and so on. Once again, through the power of numbers, so unconsidered by romantics, Claude and Delphine can deceive themselves that their nearest and dearest are unaware of the most intimate moments of their liaison. On Wednesday afternoons, they play Scrabble more often, and Claude brings his laptop. He and Delphine have started a course on the BBC website in English, and Claude is working on his paper for the Journal of Musculoskeletal Medicine.